You instantly know you're in for a good time when you enter Imagination in the heart of downtown Bristol. It's 23,000 square feet of learning disguised as fun. It's staffed with people who truly care about kids and their learning. Imagination is a great name for this place. It's 3 floors of fun, and we're with Heather Grants of Imagination, a learning museum. I can only imagine the reactions you see from parents when they come in. What should they expect when they walk in the door?
Well, there's something different going on every day here at Imagination. When you first walk in, we have our Farm to Table exhibit. That's the first of our 12 different museum studios.
We're in front
exactly
of it right here.
Farm to Table right here.
Yeah.
But when you first walk in the door, we actually have a cafe. It's called the Imagine Cafe, and we have fresh, healthy food that we serve all year during our regular operating hours. So that's something that families may not know, that when they come to spend a day here, they can actually make a day of it by having lunch here as well. But in addition to our museum studios, we have a lot of events going on throughout the year, and most of which are included in our museum admission. So some of those recent ones include our Family Pie Day in November, where we had chefs come in and do pie making. We had pie throwing, we had a pie eating contest. So every month throughout the year, visitors can expect to find something different.
Now, you have a very unique New Year's celebration too. Tell us a little bit about that.
We do. It's called Celebrations Around the World. It's on a Sunday this year, New Year's Eve, and it's a family New Year's Eve celebration. It begins at 10 a.m. and goes till 2 o'clock, and the ball drops at noon is what we like to say. So we'll have everybody, this becomes our Imagination Times Square, and we'll have a ball drop, we'll have confetti, children can make hats and confetti, and we'll have blowers to make sound, and we actually have a parade around our Times Square as well.
So they have fun ringing in the new year too.
Exactly.
Let's rewind and step back a little bit. Let's talk about the age groups of the kids that come here and some of the services that Imagination has.
Sure. Our museum studios are designed for children ages 2 through 8. So we have hands-on experiences, including our Farm to Table, but also in our other studios like our Makers Lab. We have tools that children can use. In our art studio, we have authentic art materials that they can use, and parents and older siblings as well. In fact, for babies, we have an experience where a child can make their first painting with our Artillerista, Miss Pack. So 2 through 8 is certainly a guideline, but we can accommodate children older and younger than that as well.
Heather, what I like about this place, a father, a grandfather, this isn't about video games. It's really about hands-on and a philosophy called Reggio Emilia. What exactly is that?
The Reggio Emilia approach started in a small town called Reggio Emilia in Italy. And it's a philosophy that we apply both in our museum studios and also in our early learning school that we have here at Imagination. So it's a very child-centric view that's focused on the capabilities of the child as a capable learner, capable of making the right choices and making their own decisions about what they want to learn. So we have, in our museum studios, it's very open-ended, the children can explore. In our classrooms, it's teachers are pursuing projects that the children are interested in. So for example, one of our classrooms found that the children were very interested in their dramatic play area, so they turned it into a sandwich shop because the children wanted to make food. They explored an entire project based on sandwiches. They studied math, they did reading, they did, of course, their dramatic play. They went on a field trip to a sandwich shop. So it's really looking at what children are interested in and then transforming the curriculum of the classroom, staying in line with our standards, of course, and using what children are interested in to help them learn. So that's a big part of it, but then also it's the materials that we offer here in our art studios, authentic materials whenever possible. So when I mentioned the hammers earlier, we have real hammers, real screwdrivers for children to use with appropriate supervision.
Yeah, what I like too is Uniquely Bristol is a show about hidden gems and natural treasures. You have teachers and you have volunteers.
Yes.
So people, from the All Heart City come in and they want to be involved. Tell us about the volunteers and how your staff works.
Well, there are a lot of different ways to be involved as a volunteer here at Imagination. We have special events, as I mentioned before, and certainly we need all hands on deck for those. So that may be something like helping out in our art studio, or maybe helping out on the museum floor in our water studio, making giant bubbles, or behind the scenes. Maybe you prefer to be in the office. We have opportunities to help with mailers, to help us fold our programs and all sorts of things like that. We also have opportunities to interact with technology. So in our Makers Lab, as I mentioned before, we actually have a 3D printer there. And we have a laser cutter as well. So there's lots of different levels of ways to volunteer. And then also depending on someone's own interests or technical expertise, we have a wildlife studio with animals too.
I keep hearing my mother ringing in my ears, go outside and play.
Right.
And so we've had a great fall. It's turning out to be a pretty good December. Mm-hmm. You can still let the kids go out and have a special area for them, don't you?
Yes, we have a 5,000 square foot outdoor learning park here at Imagination. In the summer, there's a greenhouse, there's raised bed gardens, and certainly at this time of year, there's still plenty of fun things to do. We have some tree stumps that are kind of like natural, low to the ground that children can hop on, so we try to keep those natural elements both indoors and out. And we also have a slide and a sandbox and things like that. And
it's all gated and it's supervised when they're outside, so you can feel safe about that.
Correct.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, you talked about the animals and the things. Why don't we take a walk upstairs and we'll see if we can't explore some of the other things here.
Sure,
okay?
Let's go.
While it's great for the kids, it's also a chance for the parents to get quality time as they can wander around the activities and participate with their children. We met Sandra on our way upstairs who said imagination helped her and her daughter in ways she didn't even know they could.
I was actually not going to put her in preschool until she was 4 years old because of the difficulty we were having with potty training, and it happened to be my brother-in-law, his wife's friend, we had hung out a couple times, and she was asking me, why isn't she in school already? And I said, well, she's not potty trained. She said, no, we help with that. I was like, really? Well, I need childcare from this time to this time. She was like, no, we take care of all of that. It was wonderful, and I think within a span of 3 weeks, we got the application in, we got accepted into the very last spot, and then it was not a sudden change, but definitely over a few weeks to now it's been almost 3 months. My daughter now independently uses the potty. She tells us when she has to. She doesn't have any accidents. We literally only use diapers when she's going to bed.
Well, obviously you had a lot of things to consider, and this was new for both of you. So what would you tell a parent that's in the situation you were a couple of months ago?
We definitely, shortly after we had taken interest in getting her into the program, we came and visited the museum with my sister-in-law and her cousin, who's the same age. And so I got to see the museum firsthand, and then just sitting down with the teacher and talking about, they asked me questions like, what do you want to see change in your child? What issues are you having? And so we talked back and forth. Like, an issue I was having was my daughter wasn't using her words, and she wasn't, even though she could understand, and around the corner we can hear her using these words and using her voice, whereas when we would ask her a question, she wouldn't answer us. And now she's having conversations with me. She's telling me about her day and definitely being more vocal.
So what does she like to do when she comes here?
Oh man, she definitely loves the aquatic area upstairs. It's one of her favorite. And then the animals too. She loves the parrot and she loves the turtle they have up there too.
Most of the innovation is upstairs on the second floor, where you're greeted by Baxter the robot. And that's just the beginning. So we came upstairs, we walked by the friendly robot. I'm glad there's no video games, but it doesn't mean there's not technology here. Talk a little bit more about what the technology is. We're having a little fun here,
Sure.
But you have a lot of other things, don't you?
We do. So this is our Bright Logic active floor. There's a lot of different ways to interact with it. It kind of cycles through all sorts of different programs that children can play with, but adults like it as well.
As you and I demonstrated that we were playing about 10 minutes before we started again.
Right, yes. So we do have this bit of technology here, and we're actually right next to our Makers Lab that has our 3D printer and our laser cutter, and we're always looking at ways to bring in technology and imagination in a meaningful way.
Now these are kind of small kids, and so you've got a 3D printer and a laser cutter. What would you do with those?
So we do have those in our GE Makers Lab, and so we'll have staff and volunteers who will facilitate those machines during our events or during our regular open hours, and we actually have special programs that we use for those depending on what we are focusing on educationally in our museum studios. So if it's for a special event, for example, for our Family Pie Day, we printed up little apples.
Oh, cool.
Actually, that was with our laser cutter that children could assemble and use as part of an art project. So it just depends what we have going on. We have the capability to print and cut all sorts of different things to assemble, like little guitars, or for our From the Vine wine tasting event that's coming up in late April. We actually made little wine charms from those too. We printed wine charms. So there's lots of different ways that we can use it for children and for adults.
Okay, so this is too advanced for me. This is the high tech. We've got a little low tech over here. I'll feel more comfortable. Let's go look at that.
Okay.
So Heather, we talked downstairs about Handson and Reggio Emilia. This is realistic. I'm not a master carpenter, but I have this miter box at home, so it's very, very cool in all of this stuff. So this is all about fun, but you're still learning.
Right.
I think a birthday party would be cool here. Now, you do those, don't you?
We do have birthday parties. We offer birthday parties in several different parts of our museum studio, so we have different party rooms available for that. We also have field trips. So schools from around the Bristol area or greater Connecticut can come and visit us for their field trip, or we have outreach programs as well. So we can bring whether it's our live animals from our wildlife studio or a hands-on experience, maybe an art experience, out to other schools and libraries as well.
We talked downstairs about the live animals, and
Yes.
they are so cool. Tell us a little bit about what you would see in there.
Sure. Well, we have a variety of animals. We have mostly reptiles, but we recently got a hedgehog. That's our newest resident.
Just named it, too. You had a contest, didn't you?
Yes, on election day we had a contest and Pinwheel won. So Pinwheel the hedgehog is our newest resident of our wildlife studio. And our animals are available to view every day. We actually just renovated our wildlife studio thanks to a generous grant from the Hoffman Foundation. So now our animals have larger enclosures. They're easier to see. There's more glass surface to view the animals.
You have a talking parrot?
We do. His name is Perico. He's one of our most popular critters.
And the tortoise is in there.
Yes,
I
Ruby
guess
the
it's
tortoise.
a tortoise. Yeah, okay.
Yes, Ruby is our tortoise, and he has a brand new porch that was part of our renovation. So now he can come out and walk around even more, and he loves to lay in the sun during the day.
So people want to know more information. Where do they go on the website?
Sure.
And if they want to book a party or learn more, how do they call?
Sure. Our website is imagination.org, 2 words. To book a party, I would definitely recommend just calling our phone number, which is 860-314-1400. A great way to keep up with what's going on here at Imagination is going to our Facebook page as well, and that's Imagination Museum on Facebook. We're also on Instagram and Twitter as well. So there's a lot of different ways to keep up with what's going on in our museum studios and also in our early learning school.
And if somebody wanted to drop by, what's the address?
It is 1 Pleasant Street, Bristol, Connecticut.
Well, of course it is.
Of course.
Heather, thank you so much. Just a world of fun. And if you have your little ones, you need to think about imagination. So that's it for this month's and this year's edition of Uniquely Bristol. We sincerely appreciate the time you spend with us and all the support you've given us on this initial year. We want to know what you think. You can send us an email at marketing@bristolct.gov. If you want to know more about Bristol, the great place to go is www.bristolallheart.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Until next year, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you then.